Welcome to the New York Business Leaders Podcast, presented by the Coyle Group. We interview the most interesting and influential business leaders in New York and hear their stories of success, challenges, and lessons learned while building their businesses and personal brands. New episodes drop weekly, so please be sure to subscribe to get updates on your favorite stream. Without further delay, here's your host of the New York Business Leaders Podcast, Gordon Coyle.
Welcome back to the New York Business Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Gordon Coyle. In today's episode, we chat with Ralph Marucci, the co-founder and CEO of Brooklyn-based Hydrate, a firm that's revolutionizing the office drinking water and air purification businesses. Ralph's young company is a fast start, quick grower, even through the pandemic, due to their innovative thinking and action steps, which we're going to discuss during our interview. But before we begin our conversation, I just want to thank you for listening and ask that if you haven't subscribed or rated the show, please hit that subscribe button and rate this podcast on the platform you're listening to it on. And if you have an interesting story and would like to tell it on this podcast, let me know. Drop me an email, which we'll have in the show notes, and let's chat. Thanks. Now, on to the show. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the New York Business Leaders Podcast. I'm Gordon Coyle. Today, I've got with me Ralph Marucci, who is the co-founder and CEO of a New York-based firm called Hydrate. We're going to get into the conversation about what Hydrate does and what they've been doing through the pandemic and post-pandemic. Ralph, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Gordon. Always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
Same here. So let me just start off, talk about pre-pandemic and what Hydrate was doing, and then we'll get into pandemic times and post-pandemic.
Sure. So pre-pandemic, our goal was to help companies go green. Getting rid of the plastic bottles is certainly a big initiative for us. 5-gallon jugs and single-use bottles especially. Our goal is to save New York City 1 billion plastic bottles by 2030, which is a pretty lofty goal, but we're on our way. So our devices would connect to any potable water source, eliminating the need for trucks and deliveries and bottles and the such. And then you get unlimited water that we filtrate and purify on site within our unit. Of course, then it is heated or chilled at the point of use, assuring freshness. And again, eliminating the need for deliveries, trucks, bottles, all of this sort of madness that, is sort of the day of old now. And so we have the latest in terms of that technology. And really who we are is Hydrate as a service company. Our job is to back up these units with a white glove service, 360 degrees of turning around within 24 hours, making sure that the water is as clean on day one as it is in year 5, which we were doing a great job of, and thankfully still are. But the pandemic was, of course, a curveball for us, just like anybody else.
So just to kind of put that in a small wrapper.
Yeah.
Water coolers, water heaters, flavored water, all kind of ice.
Sparkling, all things really water. We even have distilled. We have alkaline capabilities, electrolyte enhancement. Really any way you can manipulate water and purify it. That's really our mainstay, is keeping it absolutely germ-free, inside and out. No metals, no chemicals, no solvents, none of that stuff.
Got it. So your customers are the typical office employees, but also tell us about, I know you work for some of the emergency service offices in New York. Tell us about some of your other clients.
Yeah, we got customers in every industry. Thankfully, we're blessed to work with companies large and small, even residential accounts. So you can imagine we have everything from FedEx. We have some NYU offices and New York public education schools. We have over 100 schools that we're in. A lot of nonprofits, and then small mom and pops. These folks, like you, had some kind of water setup previously to us coming in, and some of them were even very happy with that setup. To be honest, that is until they saw how technology is advanced to make it either cleaner, greener, or simpler, and then having that convenience of our service to back it all up just makes it so that water is one less thing. My mantra is that water or ice or sparkling should be there to help you do your job, not be a part of it in any way. And we alleviate all of those concerns, and in many cases even save companies money. So it's kind of a win-win across the board, and it's great for the environment. So it's been a home run since the day I fell into this niche. It's not what I went to college for. It was just something that kind of fell out of my lap out of college. But I love the work we do. We make people healthier and happier and clean up the environment in the process. So it's very fulfilling personally.
All great positive stuff. So then the pandemic hits.
Yes.
And like a lot of companies, you had to make a shift. And I think it was, I don't want to overuse the term genius, but it was near genius, the shift that you took. So why don't you tell us about that?
Thanks. They say sometimes the little things that can have the biggest impact, and I do consider the adjustment that we made to be a sort of a small one, but it did have major implications. So when this thing first came down the pike, obviously we didn't know what really to expect. We just knew that germs were bad, and that we had to do our best to keep our people, our own people, and of course our clients safeguarded. So my partner and I put our heads together about a few weeks in, and what we came up with was that, even though our units were coated during the manufacturing stage with a proprietary blend called clean contact, which basically means if you touch the cooler, germs and bacteria can't survive from touching it. What we felt though is that might be a little difficult to convince people of, especially given the extremity of the harshness of what COVID was presenting to all of us. So what we did was we decided that what's better than clean contact is no contact. Forbes and WebMD had put out articles simultaneously to the most germy touch points in an office, which they ranked the water cooler to be anywhere from 5th to 7th, depending upon how many people you have. So knowing that the water cooler could be in the top 5 germiest touch points in an office, we decided that going hands-free completely was a great idea. So we re-engineered and reconfigured our touchpad to make added a dual foot pedal to the bottom. So basically you could take a bottle, put it on the drip tray, step on the foot pedal, take the bottle back, no interaction with the interface. This way you and your colleagues weren't exchanging germs at the cooler. I did not realize how much of an impact this would actually have. We got on the list of some of the biggest companies out there because they were looking for exactly this, especially those that still had to work during the pandemic. So we work with hospitals and police and firehouses, and of course all the other big brands like FedEx that had to deliver goods every single day to folks so that we could all get through this thing. So it was a huge success. We still to this day have hands-free. We've added motion sensors to be a little bit fancier, if you will, but primarily the goal is the same. Keep the units hands-free, keep people from exchanging germs at the cooler, and you'll have checked off one of the boxes. And we know there are many boxes, but one of the boxes that you could check in order to make you and yours feel and be actually a little bit safer and healthier in the office.
So under the old adage, when life hands you lemons, you make lemonade, and you found the lemonade and it helped really keep you busy and successful when a lot of other companies were struggling during the pandemic.
Our biggest quarter was Q4 2020.
Wow.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Never would have thought. We feel very fortunate and blessed to have been successful during a year where many people were not. And our hearts go out to everybody who was, were affected, especially professionally. We did lose about almost 30 customers, which is fairly significant, even for us that have a lot of customers. It was harsh. It's never easy, especially for them. But thankfully, like I said, we've adjusted, and hopefully we're coming through this thing better off on the other side.
That's great. So fast forward a couple months, now we're kind of easing into post-pandemic. What are you seeing? What's going on post-pandemic for you guys?
Well, like I said, same as usual as far as the hands-free. I think that still makes sense. If anything, we start to go back to more talking about being greener, that old, basically what we used to do prior. We have added an air line to the mix, which I would like to mention because I find that to be a game changer, not just for COVID, but for germs in general, allergens in general, which we've always combated and dealt with. And going forward, God forbid there's ever a situation like this again, we partnered with a group called Aeris, which used to be Electrolux. You might have heard of them back in the day, the vacuum cleaning company. Right. They've been around for over 100 years, 97 international patents. And their most recent one, which was inducted into the Air and Space Hall of Fame, back in 2017, so prior to COVID, is called Active Pure. And this technology, in a nutshell, sends out invisible odorless hydroxyls to penetrate and destroy any pathogen in the air and on surfaces, including but not limited to COVID-19. So with this being said, all we have to do is simply take this device, plug it in, turn it on, and it really cleans the atmosphere and the surfaces within X amount of square feet. There's 3 different sizes. So this has been a great comeback to work unit. It's helped a lot of folks, including churches and big warehouses and everything in between, to feel safe and be safe because of this odorless and invisible technology, which has been FDA cleared in one of their devices called the Medical Guardian. And this device, again, is going to destroy 99.9% of COVID and millions of other types of germs and bacteria in the air and on surfaces, which supplements any HVAC system that you have out there. It's not necessarily a competitive product to HVAC, but you can use it in conjunction with. And I like the fact that it's a mobile unit too, so you can move it into conference rooms, into break rooms, into anywhere where there's common areas, to give everybody the sense of comfort and knowing that this thing is working even when they're not.
So that was a great product to bring out to your existing water customers and sell them another product. Have you had opportunities to sell this product to new customers? Has it brought in new opportunities that weren't previously water customers?
Yeah, absolutely. A myriad of customers have come in, and right now we're in talks with a number of customers who are coming back to work. It's right now we're in the middle of June. A lot of people have come back online, but some are still planning on July and September returns, and we're working with them to just demonstrate the efficacy of this product. I think it's a little abstract, and I'll be the first to say that because I wasn't, to be honest, a believer at first. I thought of it as another cool air product, but not necessarily anything I'd want to get behind. But because I saw all of the many accolades associated with this, Gordon, me and my partner decided that it had legs for years to come, not just during this time that we're living in. And based on the fact that all of the data from the Cleveland Clinic to NASA, these are the early adapters of these products, it demonstrates the fact that this product does work. It's very affordable and effective against not just COVID, but again, all of these other things that we're concerned about, H1N1, the flu, you name it, it's going to combat these in your space. So I feel as though it's now become, it's really at the precipice, but it's going to become a standard to have a device of this caliber in your office, whether you've been vaccinated or not. I think the reality is we're all kind of learned the lesson about microbes and germs, and we just want to create a safer environment. And I don't know about you, but I don't feel comfortable sitting in a mask all day long. So if I could get back to feeling comfortable without one in a room with other people, I would do everything in my power to do that. And I think a lot of people agree.
Yeah, I would agree. So tell us, you kind of said that you were a little skeptical. For anybody who's listening, I'm sure everybody's skeptical, and they should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
What differentiates this product from anything you can buy at Amazon or Home Depot or anywhere else?
That's a great question. And I found the simple way to kind of give that answer. What I've learned is there's filtration, there's purification, and then there's sterilization. And those three different levels represent the 3-pronged attack that these units take. So filtration, you have a standard HEPA 13 filter, which is a MERV rating, MERV. That 13 MERV is going to cover about approximately 1 micron, which is very fine. And usually what that does is it traps particulates, right, in the HVAC vent. So this unit does that as well, only it's a HEPA 19 filter. So it goes down to 0.1 micron, so down to the bacterial level. It's going to attack and address and trap those particulates. From there, the purification method is a UV light, which the Guardian unit does contain. So now it's going to not only trap these particulates, but it has to pass through a UV light, which is going to spade, neuter, and destroy bacteria inside the device. And then finally, the real difference maker that you're not going to ever find online, again, is this Active Pure technology, which is a proprietary blend. And that is what makes this a sterilization product, because it will proactively, instead of reactively, send out these hydroxyls into your air, attacking and addressing all of these particulates in the air and on the surfaces that may exist. and it basically attracts to them like kind of like a negative versus a positive charge. So it sort of magnetizes to them, and it works off the law of gases. So if you put a popcorn in a microwave, that smell instantaneously wafts through the air. That law of gases is what spreads right through your home. Same principle. This is spreading through your business or your home, and it's going to find these particulates and destroy them. So you're not going to find anything online, Gordon, that's going to be able to make those sort of claims. A lot of people have said, "Oh, it's independently tested our product, and it kills or traps germs and stuff like that." That's not technically enough. And being independently tested, as somebody who worked in the medical industry before, doctors don't want to hear that. They want to know that it was tested by a third party. In this case, we have military lab testing done in military grade testing, done in an FDA approved lab. And the results are astounding, especially the ones they did on bacteria and viruses in hotels. Did you know the germiest touch point in a hotel room is the remote control? I wasn't too happy to hear that myself, having grabbed many remotes in a hotel, but that item particularly is grabbed by many people, as you can imagine.
Yep.
And after a 24-hour study, the bacteria, fungus, and parasites were reduced at 99.9% after using active pure technology. So the science is what got me, Gordon. I can't go off anecdotes, although I have many. And I could share them and bore you guys with each one of them. But the science that backed it up, the studies that were done in legitimate laboratories, without a proprietary kind of oversight, overreach or oversight, these units were proven to be what they said they were, and that's what got me.
Great, interesting. So water and air technology, air technology that promises to clean the air without smelling like popcorn.
It's completely odorless, although I wouldn't mind the smell of popcorn.
Make you hungry all day long.
Right.
Just want to have the munchies all day. But seriously, so you can accommodate small offices as well as large warehouses. So I would imagine that these products are scalable. Either you buy multiple products or they're larger in size. How does that work?
We got a 1,000, a 2,000, and a 20,000 square foot unit. So in most cases, the 2,000 square foot unit is used. If an office is 6,000 square feet, they might take 2 or 3 of them. But of course, in the bigger areas, the high ceiling locations, they're looking at like a warehouse or a church or something like that. They're looking at the 20,000 square foot model. And again, it's just a plug and play. It's very light. It's not that expensive. Talking about a couple of thousand to own the equipment, or you can even rent them from us, where we include service like filter changes at a nominal rate per month. So it's really much less expensive than probably one might think for an object that's on NASA space shuttles currently. So it's very affordable, and it works within your space, whether it be an apartment in New York City or whether it be a warehouse in New Jersey. We have a unit that would suit your needs. And as far as the water, well, that just works anywhere. Hands-free, germ-free, inside and out, and all of the service to back it up. So you can drink the cleanest air, drink the cleanest water, and breathe the cleanest air by working with Hydrate and our now subsidiary Airy, which is our airline.
That's great, and that kind of leads me to my next question: is for a lot of business owners, property owners, whatever, there's probably a lot of choices that they can get their water or air purification systems from. Why would they choose your company over the other competitors?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. And I think it's fair to ask because, as a consumer myself, you can get, brought in on a lot of reasons why you would choose somebody. But I think what speaks to us as Hydrate more than anything is, really it's customer service. And I think at the end of the day, people want water and air and these type of objects to just be functioning fully. They don't want to think about it. They just want to be able to operate, grab their water, and breathe the air and not have to think about what's going on here. The times we get a lot of people calling to switch over are when those folks, those other companies aren't showing up to service them. And then they're left high and dry, and now all of a sudden, water became a noticeable issue, whereas before it was like, hey, it's not broke, don't fix it, kind of thing. And to which that I say we can actually improve the water quality. So a question I like to ask people is, how important is water and air quality to you personally? Most people will say it's extremely important. Then we compare apples to apples and we educate them that not all water is the same. If you have a Brita, that's basic. We have the Brita filter inside of our unit. Nothing against Brita, but that's just a simple solution to sediment, usually in your water. We take it way further using reverse osmosis and all the latest technology, including activated oxygen, to purify the water. So how clean is the water? That's a huge piece. The other piece is the service. We turn around within 24 hours. The units that we work with are smart. They'll tell you in advance that service is going to be needed in about 2 to 3 weeks. You call us, we come within 24 hours. That means we're coming before there's a problem as opposed to after. So proactive versus reactive. Better water quality or air quality. And then lastly, Gordon, we're still a pretty small company. So my partner and I are involved in every single deal. So principal involvement has definitely made a huge impact in how people get serviced and get their questions answered in real time. Me and my partner are fully dedicated to this mission. I personally have 3 sons that are all under the age of 8. And I'd love nothing more than for this business to still be around by the time they're of age, so I can pass it down to them. So basically what I'm saying is it behooves me to get it right. So if you work with us, best believe that you're very, very important, and we'll do everything that we can to make sure that there aren't any issues when it comes to your air or water quality.
I know that the service first model is really important to you, and I know that the customers and people that we know jointly who use your products are very happy with the service and the products and the water that they get. So that's all great.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about how the challenges of the pandemic forced you to innovate, and it actually helped you expand your business. Do you have any other challenges that maybe you faced over the last couple of years that we want to maybe spend just a minute on?
I mean, personally, for anybody else who's a business owner out there who's listening to this, it's always a matter of like, my personal issue, not necessarily the company, is like where to spend most of my time a lot of the time, and finding myself involved in some of the minutia, whereas I'm told I should kind of back off and be worried more about growing the business. So, that's a personal challenge as a young business owner. I've been doing this for 14 years, owned the company for 5. Definitely learning somehow by experience in a lot of ways. As a company, it's always just a challenge to, the back office, the billing and stuff like that, especially during the pandemic, a lot of customers had to pause their accounts, or like I said, I had a number of customers go out of business. So it's a matter of also keeping up with that and, making sure that we're, staying true to, our folks that work here by collecting what we need to in order to pay them and keep everything afloat. And then finally, just, losing sleep over the word not being out there enough, right? Is it ever? I mean, Gordon, you own a business. You always feel like, oh man, I could reach more people if I just did this or I just did that. And I'm sitting there with my laptop at midnight and then I got a baby crying in the next room. And it's like, it's like everything is happening at once and not enough is happening at all. So there's a lot of, I guess, challenges, as you would call it. I wouldn't call them problems. I would call them challenges that are very welcome, because I know that once we learn and we get through them, that we'll be better off for it. So we're just praying that every day, the challenges that come along, that we can learn from them, we can get better from them, and we can overcome them. And if we do that, I think the ship will stay afloat and keep running long enough to see my son take this thing over. That's the long-term goal. So, one day at a time has been my mantra from the day I found out that I was having my firstborn. And I just feel like that's the same thing with this, which is also my baby, this company. And just nurturing it and helping it grow every day. And through channels like this, I can't say thank you enough for the time and for the questions with all this. It's super considerate and helpful, and you're just a quintessential professional and networker, and I just appreciate you.
Thanks, Ralph. I think you answered the challenge question exactly what I was expecting. We all have challenges in life. I know you're surrounded by a bunch of good people. You can always reach out to somebody in your network and say, have you ever experienced this? Have you ever had this problem? Yep. And you get advice and counsel from good people that are around you. So a lot of what this show is about building your network, being surrounded by good people, knowing who to call, and always getting trusted advice. And that's really very, very valuable. It's always great to get, an opportunity to sell a new account or meet a new person through your network, but to have trusted advisors who you can kind of call your mini board of directors, I think is very valuable.
Huge. Our networking group, as you know, Connect 4, is filled with great professionals that are really our board. I go to these guys for advice all the time, especially, like I said, as one of the younger business owners. I feel like I have a lot to learn, and working with guys like yourself who have been doing it much, much longer. It's a sounding board. It's constant advice. It's constant good guidance. And I don't know where I'd be without it. I'm really appreciative of the group and other professionals like yourself, like I said, that I've been working with and learning from.
Great. So in the remaining couple of minutes, Ralph, if somebody wanted to get started and talk to you more about your air unit or the water units, how would they do that?
The easiest way it would be to go online and go to our website, which you kind of see behind me over here. You got it up there.
Well, remember, most people are going to be listening to this, so they're not going to see that.
Well, I wasn't going to just leave it at that, of course, but I just wanted to know that it was on. But we are www.hydrate.nyc or hydrate.us, either or. That is HYDR, the number 8, so spelled a little phonetically there. Hydrate.us or .nyc. There is a form on there where you can actually fill out just basic company information. We can have a unit set up in your office to your preference and to your liking within a day or two for absolutely $0. We let you guys try it out for free. That's usually the way we introduce ourselves and hopefully earn trust, is by giving an 8 business day free trial on any of our products so that you can firsthand experience who we are and what we're about before you ever decide to go forward with us. We find it to be the fairest and most equitable way of learning if this device is for you. And if not, no hard feelings. We take it back like it was never there. But we have had success in this way. We've, again, worked with companies of your volume and caliber, from Nike to the New York Stock Exchange and a number of customers in between. And so we just hope to continue to earn the right to be a trusted vendor for all those that we can work with. And that's really the best way. Otherwise, you can call me directly, 718-313-0113. That's our office. We're based out of Brooklyn, New York. We cover the tri-state area. And we have national capabilities. There's a company like mine in every major city in the country that we network with. We can have the exact same product and service set up for you in your office in Dallas, in Miami, or LA, or anywhere else, like I said, in between. So
great.
That's the best way.
Fantastic. Ralph, it's been really a pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being on and giving us the insight into both the water and the air businesses that you've been working with. Great story, great success story about coming through the pandemic with some innovation. I'm really proud that you really kind of hit that one, and the timing was so good. It's just a fantastic success story.
Yeah, thank you so much. God is good. Can't say that He guided us all the way through. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. So Ralph, thanks again. For anyone listening to this podcast, if you'd like to be featured on the New York Business Leaders Podcast, give me, Gordon Coyle, a call or drop me an email. You'll find my contact info in the show notes. I'll actually drop Ralph's contact info in the show notes as well. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.
That's it for this week's episode of the New York Business Leaders Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. In the meantime, find more interviews and resources at nybusinessleaders.com.